You want to be loved. You want the late-night conversations, the hand to hold, the safe place to land. You imagine a future where someone finally sees you, really sees you, and chooses you anyway. But when someone gets close, something shifts. You freeze. You panic. You withdraw. You overthink everything they say. And suddenly, the same person you longed for yesterday feels like a threat today. You convince yourself it's not the right time. You say you're too busy. You label them as too much or not quite right. And maybe you believe that. But maybe, deep down, you're not running from them. Maybe you're running from something inside yourself. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that's what we're doing today, shining light on the unconscious. Because you're not afraid of love. You're afraid of what love awakens in you. You're afraid of who you become when intimacy strips away your defenses. In this episode, we're exploring 5 deep emotional blocks that Jung would say are silently sabotaging your ability to commit. Not because you're broken, but because you've been protecting something for so long, you forgot what it's like to let someone in. Let's go there. Number 1. The shadow self fears being seen. We believe that each of us carries a shadow, the parts of ourselves we repress, deny, or disown. And when it comes to commitment, that shadow often holds the deepest fears. Maybe your shadow believes you are unworthy of lasting love. Maybe it holds on to the belief that you'll mess it up once someone gets too close. Maybe it still echoes the voice of a parent who made love feel like a transaction, earned, not given. When someone starts to love you, they aren't just touching your heart. They're touching your shadow. And that can feel unbearable. It's the moment you start to feel exposed, vulnerable, unarmored. You find yourself wanting to share everything one day, then wanting to disappear the next. You want to be held, but recoil when someone tries to hold you emotionally. That's the shadow at work. Your shadow isn't evil. It's scared. It's full of shame that was never yours to carry. And it's convinced that if someone sees the real you, they'll walk away. So instead, you do it first. You ghost. You self-sabotage. You choose people who can't choose you, because it's safer than choosing someone who actually could. But here's what Jung would say. The only way to heal the shadow is to face it. Not to fight it. Not to shame it. But to acknowledge it and offer it the one thing it never received, compassion. Because the moment you say, "Yes, I'm afraid, but I still want to try," is the moment your shadow stops driving the car. Number 2, fear of losing yourself in the relationship. You've built a life you can finally breathe in. You found rhythms, boundaries, maybe even a sense of self that took years to earn. And then someone walks in with love. Suddenly, your life isn't just yours anymore. There are new variables, new emotions, new expectations. And for some of us, love starts to feel like pressure instead of peace. Jung warned of the dangers of fusion, when two people blur into each other and lose their individuality. And maybe, in your past, that's exactly what happened. You became who they needed. You absorbed their moods. You dropped your boundaries. You sacrificed your truth just to keep the peace. And you promised yourself never again. Now, even healthy connection feels like a trap. You fear giving too much and losing yourself all over again. So, you stay at arm's length. You say you need space, but what you really need is safety. Safety isn't about being alone. It's about being able to show up in a relationship as yourself fully. Not shape-shifted. Not watered down. But whole. True commitment isn't fusion. It's two whole people choosing each other, without disappearing in the process. Number 3, projection. You're not seeing them, you're seeing your past. Jung's concept of projection explains how we unconsciously assign our own fears, wounds, and unmet needs onto others. And in relationships, this becomes a powerful self-sabotage tool. You say, they're going to leave me. But really, it's your abandonment wound speaking. You say, they're too clingy. But really, it's your fear of needing anyone at all. You say, something just feels off. But really, it's your nervous system reacting to the unfamiliarity of being treated well. We project our past onto the present, and then punish the people in front of us for wounds they didn't create. You might even push away people who are emotionally available, because they feel foreign, unreal, too easy, too safe. Because for many of us, we equate love with effort, with anxiety, with trying to win someone's attention. When someone just gives it freely, we feel like we don't know what to do with it. Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So next time you feel a sudden shift in your attraction, pause. Ask yourself, what part of me is being activated right now? What am I projecting onto this person that doesn't belong to them? Until you do that, you'll keep reliving the same stories with different faces. Same pattern. Different name. Number 4, control feels safer than connection. Control is seductive. When life feels chaotic, unpredictable, or unsafe, control becomes a coping mechanism. And nothing threatens control more than intimacy. Love asks you to be flexible, to be open, to make room for someone else's emotions, needs, and imperfections. But if you grew up in a space where unpredictability meant danger, you may have vowed to never feel that out of control again. So now, when someone gets close, you start to micromanage. You look for flaws. You create emotional distance. You seek perfection because it feels safer than vulnerability. But connection and control can't exist in the same space. You can't micromanage love. You can't spreadsheet your way into intimacy. Jung believed we create personas, masks, to navigate the world. And for many people who struggle to commit, the persona is the independent one, the emotionally unavailable one, the I don't need anyone archetype. But it's just a mask. A very convincing one. Underneath, there's someone who wants to let go. Someone who's tired of controlling everything just to feel safe. The work isn't learning how to let go of control overnight. It's learning how to slowly trust that love won't destroy the life you've built. It might actually make it richer. Number 5, your inner story is still writing the ending. You can view the psyche as narrative-driven. You're not just living your life. You're living your story. And if your story says, I always ruin it, no one ever stays. I'm not made for love. Then no matter who walks into your life, your unconscious will find a way to make the story end the same way. Because your mind isn't loyal to truth. It's loyal to what feels familiar. Even if familiar means painful. That's why you keep attracting the same kind of people. Why you keep finding reasons to leave. Why you push away the ones who actually care. You're trying to protect yourself from reliving the same pain. But in doing so, you're recreating it. It's not your fault that story exists. Maybe it started when someone you loved walked away. Maybe it started when you loved someone who only loved the version of you that stayed quiet. But it is your responsibility to rewrite it. Because you are not your past. You are not your parents' relationship. You are not the version of love you first saw growing up. You are not the heartbreak that broke you once. You are the author now. And you get to choose a different ending. Closing message. So what would Carl Jung say about why you can't commit? He'd say, look within. He'd say, the answers aren't out there. They're in the parts of yourself you've buried. You're not afraid of commitment. You're afraid of what commitment brings up. Your shadow. Your history. Your masks. Your unhealed wounds. But love doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. You don't have to be fully healed to commit. You just have to be aware, willing, curious about who you become when you finally stop running. Because maybe love isn't what breaks you. Maybe it's what finally shows you the parts that need your attention. And when you stop seeing commitment as a trap and start seeing it as a mirror, everything changes. You stop asking, why do I always leave? And you start saying, I'm ready to stay. Even when it's hard. Even when it's unfamiliar. Even when it feels like everything inside you says to run. Because now you understand why. And once you understand, you're no longer ruled by fear. You're guided by choice, by awareness, by love.